All right, let's begin the broadcast with breaking inputs in connection to the Goa Inferno case probe. The immigration police have begun preliminary questioning of the Luthra brothers. They were asked about the purpose of their travel. The officials are verifying their documents and conducting background checks as well. Immigration police also questioned them regarding the incident, the fire tragedy in Goa. And handover can happen tomorrow is what we're given to understand. So Luthra brothers can be handed over to the Indian authorities, Indian team tomorrow. Luthra brothers were questioned about their purpose of travel to Thailand. They were also asked about the tragedy that took place in Goa. We have Priyank and Deepankar getting us more details. Let's first go across to Priyank. So basic preliminary questioning has happened of the Luthra brothers by the immigration officers. We're also being told that they specifically asked them about the fire tragedy in Goa, Priyank.
Yes, Swati, what we have got to know that the immigration officers have questioned the Luthra brothers and the procedure has ended there in Phuket because it's already 6:30 there in Phuket and certainly the office hours are over. In the initial round of questioning, they were questioned about their purpose of visit to Thailand because their location was certainly not showing that they were going to some other location for a tourist purpose. So the criminal intent could have been seen at that particular moment. What officials have also hinted out that these brothers have accepted their knowledge about the fire which took place in the Goa nightclub, where it is clear that they were aware about the fact that they knew that what had happened at the Goa outlet, but instead of that, they came to Thailand. During the course of argument in the court, the lawyers of the Luthra brothers have told it to the court that they had gone there for their random visit. This is the way they have been living their lifestyle. But the fact of the matter is that their awareness about this particular incident could be a very big factor. What sources have been suggesting that since the procedure has already been over and the Goa police officials are yet to reach Thailand, knowing the fact that the procedure is yet to be followed. So it's most likely that the handover can happen tomorrow. That is also depending on how the legal formalities will be completed or not, whether they will be taking to Bangkok where the court with this particular jurisdiction is concerned, because Phuket only has a court which can deal with the local civil procedure. For the central procedure, you have to go to the Bangkok court where the further procedure can be followed. So it is most likely that this process could be completed by tomorrow. But for sure, my sources have been telling us that the handover is certainly not happening today.
All right, Priyank, stay on with us. Criminals can run, they can hide with hefty bank balances, also buy flight tickets within 98 minutes of a devastating fire that killed 25 innocent people. But the same criminals, the cowards, cannot outrun the law of the land. Luthra brothers have been detained in Thailand. The process to deport them to India is underway. We are given to understand they could be handed over tomorrow. Saurabh and Gaurav Luthra, co-owners of the nightclub in Goa that caught fire on the night of 6 December, are currently in a detention center in Phuket. We've accessed pictures which show both the brothers in handcuffs holding their passports. The brothers booked a flight to Thailand just 98 minutes after the blaze ripped through their club in Goa. They were contacted by the Goa police. They knew that people were dying. People were still being pulled out of the charred remains of their club, and yet they chose to leave. But because of the quick movement by our agencies, a blue corner notice led to action. Let's first take a look at this report filed by my colleague Isha, who's reporting on all the developments from Thailand.
It is game over for the Luthra brothers as they have been detained from Bangkok in Thailand. We're reporting from there where the Hotel Indigo behind me. This is the exact spot from where we are being told that they were picked up. We previously also reported sources confirming that they were around this area. This is a tourist area. You can see there are several shops here as well, and this is always hustling and bustling with activity. The Luthra brothers are now waiting deportation to India while we bring you exclusive ground reports from Ground Zero in Phuket.
Luthra brothers thought a flight to Thailand could save them. They thought hiding in Thailand could fool authorities. They also thought they could vanish into a tourist crowd and escape accountability. But this morning that illusion was shattered. The noose tightened, the dragnet closed in, because this is new India, and India where criminals don't get to negotiate terms. Soon the Luthras will be dragged back. So let's explain to you what next for the Luthra brothers. They are formally going to be placed under arrest. They will be taken to Phuket airport. They will be handed over to the Indian authorities, which we are being told will happen tomorrow. Luthras will then be brought back to Delhi and taken to Goa on transit remand. The Luthras can no longer hide behind excuses, licenses or legal technicalities. They can no longer pretend to be businessmen on a meeting to defend their midnight escape. They can no longer lecture courts about no criminal intent when their only intent was to run. And now that they have been caught, the focus shifts to the larger rot, the possible collusion, the possible cover-up, the possible network of officials and operators who enabled this tragedy. Because a fire like this doesn't just happen, it is built over years of negligence, corruption and the unholy patronage. That's why Times Now is asking, Luthras ran, but who in the system let them run a death trap? Luthras have been detained. Will corrupt officials face action next? Were palms greased to allow illegal nightclub to operate? Was there a chain of bribes and collusion that let the club, Birch by Romeo Lane, operate? Who signed the files? Who ignored audits? Will they be named? Who in Goa government benefited after warnings were buried? Who let Goa club run despite glaring fire safety violations? Will the investigation stop at Luthras or will the web be exposed? Should officials who signed the documents be arrested as well? So the question is, will government of Goa move to prosecute officers who help Luthras? Did a political patronage help this club operate beyond rules? If the state knew of safety violations, why didn't they act against anyone? Amidst all this, we're getting some breaking inputs. The Chief Minister of Goa, Mr. Pramod Sawant, is going to brief the media shortly. Perhaps he will talk about the developments that have taken place since morning, which of course includes the biggest development, the detention of Luthra brothers in Thailand. Let's go back to Priyank. So a press conference now by the Chief Minister of Goa, but there's a long list of questions that I just read out that have not been answered.
Yes, certainly, Swati. So far, the Goa government has been trying to put the onus on the previous officers because without naming them, there have been speculation which has been raised in the Goa media regarding the former IAS and IPS officer. But the fact of the matter is that if these IAS and IPS officers, because I've spoken to these officers personally, have already retired, then what stopped the Goa government to pursue their cases against them for the last 2.5 years? Because it's the exact timing when these officers had retired who were from the UT cadre itself. So the blame game is quite obvious. We know that the political blame game will continue, but the fact of the matter is that it's a total failure of the law enforcing mechanism which should have been there, where all these checks and balances would have done. We are talking about the Club Inferior, which was established in the year 2011, and since then, after procuring this piece of land, which was initially a resort, then it was converted into a different entity by the Romeo Lane chain, which was being owned by the Luthra brothers. Nothing was done. Then the bamboo and the wooden structure which was made on the top of this particular salt lake was also ignored, which was not under the environmental norms. So starting from the panchayat level, which had raised objection, but nothing was done. There was demolition notice which was ordered, which could not happen. Later to that, there was no police action which was initiated by the Environment Ministry of Goa, which did not happen. And now, finally, when an unfortunate incident happened, when 25 people have lost their life, everyone has jumped up to the conclusion and they are shifting the onus on the previous officer. The fact of the matter is that the government ignored this because they knew that this is a very high profile entity. This could bring revenue for the government. This could bring illegal revenue, quote unquote, for those individuals who could have been getting benefit of that. That's why this was allowed to function. And there you see that what had happened 8 to 9 days back. A fire broke out, people lost their life, and now the blame game is still continuing. What we are expecting from the Chief Minister now, since the accused have been arrested, he need to come out with a detail of all those individuals who should be held liable, whether there's a proper inquiry which is being done from the government level. We know that a magisterial level inquiry has been initiated by the state government, but whether the departmental inquiry against those whosoever has been part of this mechanism which was dealing with the wrongdoing which has been done by the Romeo Lane at breach should be taken into account. That's the thing which need to be done by the government. The deportation process is certainly something on which the government will focus on. They will try to chase their thumb. They will say that we have made it sure that the passport should have been cancelled, but that is a legal procedure.
Yes,
we know it for the fact that...
Yes, while the investigation is gathering pace here in India, Priyank, the Luthra brothers have been kept at the immigration center in Thailand, where we're given to understand a short while back they were also questioned. Preliminary questioning took place in which they were asked about the fire tragedy in Goa. Let's take a look at a ground report that Isha has filed from the immigration office in Phuket. This is the place where the Luthras have been kept.
It is game over for the Luthra brothers as they have been detained in Phuket, in Thailand. They are currently lodged into this detention center. This is the Phuket immigration office. This is where they have been lodged. We were hearing from our sources that they could be taken out anytime in the evening today, but now, because of paperwork that is stuck, they will be taken out and deported tomorrow. What is still unclear is that if they will be taken to Bangkok or straight to India. But what we know is that this was a massive success for Indian authorities who worked in tandem with the Thailand police to nab the accused and bring justice to the 25 victims who lost their lives in the Goa fire tragedy.
So in Delhi's Rohini court today, during the hearing of the anticipatory plea of Luthra brothers, the counsel for Luthras made a set of stunning claims. First, the attempt to put all the onus on the managers. The lawyer said that the operational managers were looking at the day-to-day happenings, and also said that Luthras don't decide what happens in the kitchen of Birch, Goa. The lawyers then claimed that Luthras did not escape. They went for a business meeting. Then the lawyer said, while arguing for Luthras, and I quote, they are saying, I ran like a rabbit, but then I'm back here to face you. But are you going to lynch me in Goa and set my properties ablaze? Lawyers also said, while arguing, I have been a law-abiding, tax-paying citizen with zero antecedents. I have a threat to my life, and then I am filing before the court of competent jurisdiction where I live. The lawyer also went on to say arrest cannot be in a fit of rage or vengeance. It should be regarding probe. Let's go across to Dipankar, who's getting us more details. Dipankar, they maintain that they went there for business. They are also saying that this is nothing but an act of vengeance. As far as the action against Luthra brothers, their property and the investigation is concerned. Dipankar, can you hear me? All right, I think Dipankar is not able to hear me. We'll fix that line and go back to Dipankar. But Isha is joining us live. We'll go across to Isha as well. Let's focus on the inputs that we are getting at the moment. So the hearing that took place on the anticipatory bail plea, some shocking claims were made by the Luthras. Counsel appearing for Luthra said that they were on a business trip, but the authorities here in India are trying to project it as if they have fled the country and that they are being targeted. The authorities are acting out of vengeance. Those are the claims that have been made by Luthras. They've tried to put the onus on the managers who were handling the club. I think Dipankar is through. He is with us on the broadcast. Dipankar, take us through the shocking, bizarre claims that have been made.
Well, yes, these were some bizarre claims that have been made by the Luthra brothers before the court, where they are saying that the entire investigation that is going on is a targeted investigation and it is an arbitrary investigation in a way that on one day the NBWs are issued against the Luthra brothers, and on the very next day the proclaimed offender proceedings begin before the Goa court. And it was also said that there is a threat to their life, as if they are brought in, they will be lynched, because a lot of messages, threat mails, messages are being sent to both the Luthra brothers as well as their family members. So these are the claims that they have made. They have also said before the court that what the Goa police and what the other investigating agencies are claiming, that the entire case, that there was only one entry and exit. That also has been denied by the Luthra brothers, and they have said that there were actually 2 entries and exit, and more than 200 people were evacuated from the place where the incident had happened. So these were the claims that the Luthra brothers had made, and obviously these claims were denied by the Goa police, and they submitted before the court that these guys, as soon as they got the whiff of what has happened, within a period of 1.5 hours, They booked the ticket, and the very next morning at 5 a.m. they left the country with the flight that they had booked at approximately 1:15 in the night, on the intervening night when the incident had happened. They had also refuted the claim that was made by the Luthra brothers that there are some medical ailments of the Luthra brothers because of which they can't be produced. So those were also denied, and it has also been submitted before the court by the Goa police as well as the Delhi police that the license...
Joining us live from Thailand, Isha, you were reporting earlier that Luthra brothers may be handed over to the Indian authorities tomorrow. That might take place tomorrow.
Swati, it was expected to be today evening, but due to a lot of paperwork that is pending, is what the source here has confirmed to us times now, that it will take place tomorrow morning. In fact, we are reporting from this particular immigration office, showing you around here the visuals as well. You can see this is the exact spot where the Luthra brothers have been detained. You can also see that this is the Phuket immigration waiting point, which does signify that we are currently reporting from the immigration center. This is where they have been detained. What we have been told is that by tomorrow it will be clear as to what time will they be taken out from here, and also if they will be taken to Bangkok or straight to India. But big win is, Swati, as we were also speaking about it, for the Indian forces. They were nabbed from a tourist area in Patong, and they were hiding because that was also a place where the police scrutiny is at the least. So yes, we are reporting exclusively from the Phuket immigration office, where the officials have detained the Luthra brothers.
All right, Isha, stay on with us. Let's get more details for our viewers. For the ones who lost their loved ones, for the ones who suffered because of the negligence, for the ones who survived the blaze, the memories of that haunting night will be hard to erase. Listen in to Bhavna Joshi. She lost her husband and 3 sisters in the fire tragedy. She's the only one from her family who survived that night. She wants justice. She wants accountability.
इतना बुरा हाल हुआ है सर, मैंने कभी सपने में नहीं सुना। मैं नहीं चाहती थी मेरी किसी की, मैं कभी भी किसी के बारे में ऐसे न्यूज़ पढ़ती थी, मुझे इतनी तकलीफ होती थी। आज मैंने खुद अपने घर के परिवार वालों को इस तकलीफ में देखा है, अपनी आंखों के सामने देखा है। बस मैं कुछ नहीं कर पाई, बस मैं सबसे मदद मांगती रही, किसी ने मेरी मदद नहीं करी। बस चीखती चिल्लाती रही, 4-4, 5-5 घंटे वहाँ पर सबके आगे गिड़गिड़ाती रही, मेरी फैमिली को बचाओ, अंदर फंसे लोगों को बाहर निकालो, प्लीज़ कुछ करिए, प्लीज़ कुछ करिए। लोग खड़े होकर तमाशा देख रहे हैं जलते हुए बाहर, कोई कुछ नहीं कर रहा सर। फायर ब्रिगेड की गाड़ी भी 40 मिनट बाद आती है, पुलिस भी उतनी लेट आती है, जब कुछ सब मतलब पुलिस आ रही है, कुछ देख ही नहीं रही है, मतलब खड़े होकर अंदर, मतलब कोई एक्शन ही नहीं ले रहे, समझ ही नहीं आ रहा था वहाँ हो क्या रहा है। ऐसा लग रहा है कि बस मरते हुए छोड़ दिया लोगों को बस।
All right, breaking inputs coming in on the broadcast. Goa police intensified search for the landowner of Birch Club, Surendra Khosla, who is still absconding. Multiple teams have been formed to locate Khosla, who is the owner of the property that was leased out to the operators of Birch by Romeo Lane. Let's try and go across to Priyank for more information on this. So the investigation is gathering pace, more people coming under the scanner, more people who've had some or the other way had to play a role in this, in terms of negligence, in terms of the tragedy that took 25 lives, are being searched by the Goa police, and multiple teams have been formed. They are all looking for Surendra Khosla. Now, who is Surendra Khosla? He's the owner of the property that was leased out to the operators of the club. Let's go across to Priyank. He's through. Priyank, Surendra Khosla is the landowner who the Goa police are now trying to locate.
Yes, Sati Swati, he is another suspect, Surendra Khosla, who was a landowner who took this piece of land from the villagers in the name of a resort which was initially named with some other entity. And later to that, he also collaborated with the Luthra brothers. So if you look at the land deal document, which we had managed to get it for our viewers, which has also been put forward before the local Panchayat court, Surendra Khosla's name is also prominent. So he was the one who should also be held liable for the construction of this particular work. All those papers which were related to this particular piece of, Salt Lake area, belongs to Surendra Khosla, who had procured it from the locals. That's why his role is also important, because the Goa police will have to look for the origin of this particular resort, how it was made, who were the other people who had contributed. But the biggest factor for which they will have to focus on later on is the investigation from Times Network, which showed that multiple companies were owned by the Luthra brothers from one particular location, which is in Model Town. If you are in one particular business, what is the need of opening several companies with several different individuals for pumping money to this particular resort, which also raised suspicion, Swati, that whether this was being done as a purpose of a shell company or not. Because if you are the entity, you can go to the market, you can ask for more contribution from the market, and that money can come directly to one particular company. It is not needed that you can open several companies and then you pump the money into a different account, which means that there was a siphoning of money which was also happening. So that will come in the later aspect. So far, Surendra Khosla is the next suspect for whom lookout has been issued by the police officials.
All right, Priyank, stay on with us. The opposition, meanwhile, is in no mood to relent. There's politics happening as well. Opposition blames BJP government for allowing corruption and for letting the Luthras leave in the first place.
I think firstly, allowing them to escape. My first take is, why were they allowed to escape? Why did we have to go to exotic Thailand to arrest them? They could have been arrested in Goa itself. But the point is that they were allowed to exit. Their passports were not revoked. No immigration authorities stopped them. No lookout notice was pushed, which should have been done promptly. Unfortunately, not done, only because it created an outrage that has led to this action. I'm hoping they will be brought back to India as soon as possible and the strictest punishment given to them.
देखिए, मैं फिर दोहरा रहा हूं कि वो ऐसे हिंदुस्तान से नहीं भाग गए. उनको भगाने में किन किन लोगों का हाथ रहा है, इसकी भी जांच होनी चाहिए. बगैर भारतीय जनता पार्टी के सरकार के सहयोग के वो गोवा छोड़ के नहीं भाग सकते थे. इंडिगो एयरलाइंस और सबको नहीं मिल रही है, देश की जनता परेशान हो रही है और 25 लोगों की जान चली गई जिन लोगों की लापरवाही से. वो इंडिगो की एयरलाइन से भाग गए हिंदुस्तान छोड़ के और हमारी सरकार कुछ नहीं कर पाई. तो ठीक है, पकड़े गए हैं और प्रत्यार्पण संधि भी है थाईलैंड के साथ, तो उनको वापस जल्दी लेके आइए और उनके खिलाफ सख्त से सख्त कार्रवाई कीजिए.
So there's zero tolerance for criminals, and let's take a look at what's happened in case of Luthra brothers. They have been detained from Thailand. They fled on the 7th of December 2025, and in 5 days they've been detained. So today, on the 11th of December, the status is that Luthra brothers are in the custody of the Thai police. Let's also take a look at all those who have been brought back to India to face the Indian law. Christian Michel, in the Bofors case, the middleman, extradited in 2018 from UAE. Then you have Tahavur Rana, 2611 conspirator, extradited. And there's a long list. We'll come to that later. Let's go across to Rucha meanwhile. Rucha, there are multiple developments being reported about how multiple teams have been formed to track and nab the landowner. Meanwhile, in Thailand, the immigration officers have conducted a preliminary inquiry of Luthra brothers. They were asked about their purpose of visit to Thailand and also about the fire tragedy. But the Goa Chief Minister's press conference will be crucial because there are a lot of unanswered questions still.
Well, exactly at in few minutes, we are expecting the Chief Minister of Goa, Pramod Sawant, to brief on what is the latest update that the Goa government, the Goa police have. In fact, currently we are outside his residence and very shortly every detail will be provided of how the Goa authorities will be nabbing, will be taking handover from the Delhi police when the further process of the deportation is over, how the Goa police will track him and how the multiple teams which are already working on gathering evidences to make the strong case against both the brothers, because this is a case that the Chief Minister has assured that...
So while the Goa government is building a strong case, we also have a reaction coming in from someone who is representing Luthra brothers in the Delhi court. Let's listen into that as well, Rucha.
Bail moved by Luthra brothers. We have with us the Delhi State Council, the prosecutor Atul Shrivastava. with us and let's have a word with him and try to find out as to what happened inside the court. Sir, आज आपने आर्ग्यूमेंट किया इसमें पूरा और दोनों तरफ से आर्ग्यूमेंट कोर्ट ने सुने और 5 बजे के लिए ऑर्डर के लिए रिजर्व किया. क्या डिटेल में आप बता सकते हैं क्या आर्ग्यूमेंट्स रहे हैं?
सर इतनी डिटेल फिर से यही आर्गुमेंट करनी पड़ जाएगी. डिटेल हम यही कह सकते हैं कि उन्होंने कहा कि भाई हमें इंटरिम ट्रांजिट बेल देनी चाहिए और हमें दें और जिससे कि हम जाके गोवा में फिर फर्दर अपनी लीगल रिमेडी हम ले पाए. उसके लिए ना अपना एडवोकेट.
सर ऐसा भी उन्होंने बोला था कि जो ये क्लेम किया जा रहा है कि एक एंट्री एक एग्जिट था, ऐसा नहीं है. 2 एंट्री 2 एग्जिट है और वो बराबर ये बात बोल रहे हैं कि हम आकर के ज्वाइन करना चाहते हैं ये इन्वेस्टिगेशन, लेकिन कुछ थ्रेट है उनकी लाइफ को, कुछ बातें बोली गई. उनके बारे में आप क्या कहना चाहेंगे?
सर हमने कोर्ट को साफ साफ बताया कि देखिए माननीय उच्चतम न्यायालय ने और माननीय दिल्ली उच्च न्यायालय ने साफ साफ कह रखा है कि एक आदमी जो इंटरिम प्रोटेक्शन के साथ जाता है उसके इन्वेस्टिगेशन, उसके इंट्रोगेशन का जो रिजल्ट होगा और जो कस्टडी में इंट्रोगेशन होगी, दैट इज कस्टोडियन एंड नॉन कस्टोडियन, वो इंटायरली डिफरेंट होता है. ही इज बाउंड नॉट टू स्टेट ट्रूथफुली.
सर उनका ये भी एक क्लेम था कि उनकी तबीयत एपिलेप्सी है, एक ब्रदर को, दूसरे ब्रदर को कुछ न्यूरो इश्यूज हैं, जिसको आपने डिनाई किया, जिसको आपने मना किया कि कहा ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं है और ये एक फोर्ज डॉक्यूमेंट्स लगाए हैं, पुराने डॉक्यूमेंट्स लगाए गए हैं और उन्होंने ओथ पे फॉल्सिफाई भी किया है रिगार्डिंग द लाइसेंसेस जो उनको मिले थे. उसके बारे में क्या कहना है?
सर देखिए मैं उस बारे में विशेष नहीं जानता क्योंकि ये इन्वेस्टिगेशन की पार्ट है और अभी उन्होंने जो बोला है वो ये कहा था कि हमने ये कहा कि इतना सीरियस एलिमेंट नहीं है. अगर ऐसी सीरियस एलिमेंट होती तो रात में कैसे आदमी कोई फ्लाई.
So the reaction that you just heard from the lawyer is actually a counsel for Delhi police in the case. They've presented their arguments and remains to be seen how the court is going to view this. We'll get to know that verdict at around 5 p.m. We are closely going to track that development as well.